Hi everybody, welcome back to our channel. I'm Sid.
And I'm Macky.
And today we are here with a video from the Downieville Classic in Downieville, California.
Yeah, and this race video is going to be a little different than most of ours because this race is a little different,
a lot different
than most of ours.
It's 2 days of racing. On the first day, you do a 26-mile cross-country race with a very long climb and a very fun descent. And on the second day, you do a downhill race, which is predominantly downhill because you
descend more than you climb.
Like 4,000 feet. However, there's also quite a bit of
pedaling
your bike. So it's not like you're actually going downhill for an hour.
No.
Yeah, so that's what it is. So it's 2 races, 2 days. The standard Enduro race works with the way that we format our videos a little bit more easily than a 3-hour cross-country race. We didn't want to wear a chest mount because it was hot, it was smoky from wildfires, so already breathing a little restricted. So we did head-mounted GoPros for the XC race, and then Macky wore the Rilo.
Yeah, I wore the Rilo today for the downhill.
Yeah. And also, it's just not that fun to watch POV of climbing for an hour. So
really isn't.
We thought we would make it more fun by just like clipping in some footage and also just kind of giving you guys a recap of how our days went.
So you want to give us a sort of highlights or things that you remember about yesterday's race, so the cross country.
Yeah, so it's a pretty challenging cross country. It's a little longer than I think your standard XC race, both in time and mileage. It's not quite to what you would call a marathon distance, but it is a slow 26 miles, I think you might say.
And it's a point to point, so it starts in Sierra City and ends in Downieville. So you do get to descend more than you climb by like 1,000, 1,500 feet.
So you climb about 4,000 feet and descend
a little over 5.
Because this is the first XC race I have done since the last time I raced Downieville, which was 2014. You could say that possibly my preparation was a little inadequate for this kind of racing. That said, have been training with that in mind a little bit, so I wasn't totally unprepared, but we were still both riding Enduro bikes, and especially Macky. I had the 29er, which is a great bike for the course, but I think my setup just overall was a little more Enduro focused than a lot of the girls who had smaller travel bikes and lighter tires and blah blah blah.
If you haven't checked out the bike check of Sid's bike for Downieville and how we changed it, you should check that out.
Yeah.
Link up here.
So I did make some changes. I think probably if I were to do this race again, I might try to cut a little bit of weight off the bike, but it's what it is.
The rule for Downieville is that your bike has to weigh the same both days, and they do it by weight because basically they don't want people changing anything. So you have to ride same tires, same bike, same shock, fork, all the same stuff both days, including tires. And so that's why they weigh it, so that people aren't putting on
heavier
XC tires
for the descent.
Yeah.
Which would be nice to do.
It would be nice to do if that were allowed.
Because there's a lot of opportunity for flat tires. And the last time I did this race, I did get a flat tire.
Yeah.
The XC course starts out on a paved road, and then you go to a gravel road. And then you stay on the gravel road for me, what was about an hour and 15 minutes of climbing, hard. The women's field went out very fast. And I tried to restrain myself because I was like, I know I can't do this for the entire time. So I started in the back. I was able to pick off a few people on the climb, which was good. And then after the road climb, you get on some single track and you climb some more. It's a little bit of up and down at that point, but it's still mainly up. I had been passed by a lot of expert guys because they started right behind the pro women. So a lot of expert guys passed me on the climb. And then I started to catch them on the single track because some of them were not that good at handling their bikes on single track. And then you go in a section called Baby Heads that's just rubble piles, so that's fun.
It's like a Jeep road full of baby head rocks.
And unfortunately, I had let someone get past me at the top of that while I was eating, so I was like kind of not able to go full speed. It's mainly descending, but like every now and then you get like a punchy little climb, and there's one punchy little climb and there were like a lot of people walking it, and I was like, I can do this. And I did it, but then I got to the top and like my left leg just like cramped from like toes to like butt. So that was not good. Because this is like early, right? There's a lot left. I almost never cramp. Only when I race Downieville. Which is the only XC race I do, so that might have something to do with it.
Possibly.
So definitely cramped up. There's like a traversey section, and I just like forced myself to go pretty easy on that and try to like keep my seat up, because unfortunately when you like the thing that was getting me is I'd like be sitting on my seat to put it down, and then when I'd stand back up I would start cramping. So I just did like XC style, seat up, try to like sit on the seat and rest as much as possible until I got to a point, which was the next climb, where I could eat all of my remaining food. It was probably about 15 honey stinger chews. And then I had a little bit of mix left because I'd gotten a second bottle of mix. Our friend Kaale gave us a hand up at the top, which I honestly think probably saved my life, because I really don't think, I don't think
life, or maybe your
the race. The race. Cramps can be deadly.
Cramps can be deadly.
I'm not sure just water would have done it.
Yeah.
So I finished the bottle of mix. So this is a climb called Third Divide, which is brutal. It is not long. It's like 5 minutes, but it's like after you've been doing a lot of rough descending and like everyone cramps there. There's like electricity pulsing through my legs, but I was like more or less able to pedal through it. And there's a kid behind me and he passed me, and then he just like tipped over with his legs like spasming. It was like, I'm cramping. So I didn't push it. I just like, I had my power meter in the dash, and I was like, I can't go over like 200 watts because this is gonna get bad. So I just sort of like cruised up that, and then there's a really fun descent after that, there was a lot of traffic on that for me, but like everyone was more or less moving along, so it wasn't too bad. It was just really dusty. And then you get into the final section, First Divide, and at this point I was finally starting to feel a little better. So I was able to push it a little bit and drop the one girl, other pro woman that I was riding with at that point, and finish fairly strong, although like really, really wrecked. My legs were just like ready to cramp when I finished.
How did you finish?
I was 8th in the cross country out of about 17 women. It was pretty big.
Right in the middle, basically.
I think that's a little above middle. 17.
So, not 16.
Slightly right above middle, which I'm pretty pleased with, because it is only my second ever pro XC race. I don't really consider myself a pro cross-country racer, so it's good to be able to be in the mix.
In the mix, yeah.
Suffering, but in the mix.
I also ended up right in the middle. I was like 28th out of 57. So once again, half a person above right in the middle. I basically just like started and let most people go. I was just like, they're all going to start too hard. I know that I can't start that fast and like have a good race. So I just let everybody go. And after about 10 minutes, when we hit the like dirt road Sid was talking about, I just started picking people off. And from that point on, I don't think anyone passed me. A couple of the fast expert cross-country guys, and these were guys who like were on XC bikes, I think 3 of them caught me, but besides that, I basically just passed people for the rest of the race. I was on the Jameis Hardline, which is a 27.5 bike with 160 mil of travel, and I was running a coil shock. Apparently, it was the heaviest bike here, because you have to weigh your bike both days, as we mentioned.
If anyone can guess in the comments how much Macky's bike weighed, closest guess, we will send you a little surprise.
Yeah.
So have a guess at it.
And this was
higher than you think.
Yeah. This was including my little tool pouch, the Piggy, that stays on my bike, and my GPS. So in case that affects your yeah. But anyway, I had the heaviest bike, so I was really suffering on the climbs, but I I've raced enough cross country, because that's what I used to do, that I knew to like not go out too hard and to just be steady, and then I would pick people off. And so I did that. Once we hit the single track at the top, that was better suited to my bike because it's rougher. So I was able to catch a bunch of people there. And then once we hit the descent, I was pretty much just destroying people. And then that same climb Sid was talking about, the climb up the third divide where the guy who passed her cramped, I caught a guy right at the bottom of that climb. And he was like, do you want by? And I was like, listen, you're going to climb faster than I am, but if you'll let me by at the top so that I can go down third divide first, that would be really awesome. And he was super cool about it. And so like I followed him all the way up the climb and then jumped in front of him right at the top and then never saw him again. So that was good.
Cool.
Because I don't think I slowed him down. Overall, I was pleased given the weight of my bicycle, the fact that it was more bicycle than one needs for a race like this, and that I have not been training or racing cross country recently.
It's not what we do, but it's fun to...
Oh, it was really fun.
To jump in and do it, and I actually really enjoyed this kind of racing. I forgot that it can be really fun to just like bury yourself.
It's true.
And just hurt so
true.
badly.
It did hurt.
It's really satisfying.
It's very satisfying. And I succeeded in not cramping, even on Cramp Hill, because every once in a while I'd feel my legs like do the like thing, and I'd just be like, okay, just back off just a tiny bit. And so yeah, that was really good.
So day 2, downhill race. You got
downhill.
You do go down
you do
very big hill.
You go down more than you go up.
Significantly. 4 times.
Yeah. You just don't go down as much as
We're
you
used to.
think you do.
Yeah. We got up to the top, to the start, really early for us, which is shocking, only to find out that my start was not until after all the expert men at noon.
So it was the pro men, then the expert men, then the pro women.
Speed.
Oh yeah, single
all
speed.
The age groups of expert men. And single speed, and then
the pro women. And so I started at 9:57, and Sid didn't start until 12:08.
Yeah.
So I actually had enough time to start, race all the way down, pedal part way up the road, find a ride to the top, and get there 20 minutes before Sid started.
Yeah. I was like a little antsy at the top. It was just hard to wait for like 3 hours.
Yeah, that is hard.
To start. I started right behind the girl who was second in the cross country the day before, which the start order was alphabetical, so it was like totally unrelated to anything. And
random.
It was not terrible. It was just a little unfortunate because she and I have very different skill sets. Came pretty apparent. I caught her not towards the top, but like into
pretty fast.
Yeah, in the middle of the first descent, like right after there's a section called the waterfall, which we had practiced lines on, and I did not hit the line that we had been practicing. So we got passed by one of the junior kids, the junior boys that started behind us, and one of them was super fast and went flying past me. Didn't see the rest, so that was good.
That's good.
So I caught the girl in front of me, tried to like make a lot of space before the climb. Apparently it wasn't enough. I made a decent gap. I got onto the climb. I got about maybe a third of the way up of the climb, looked back, was like, oh, thank goodness there's no one there. Like, literally 3 seconds later, she passed me. So she basically went up the climb like a rocket ship. I was like, what is happening here? So then I got onto third divide, which is, we race this in the cross country as well, is extremely fast.
So the downhill, the top part of it is different, and then the whole probably bottom half
is the same as part very of the end of the XC course.
Part of the cross country,
which is fine because it's a really fun descent.
Really fun.
Really fast, like 30 miles an hour fast. Mm-hmm. And then there's a section at the end that's like a rock step up thing. This happened to me in the cross country course, which I forgot to mention earlier, is that there was just a big wad up there. It happened again with both of those girls were on this rock step up. And so I just like went for it anyway and almost made it up, but the one girl was kind of like standing at the top, which there's nowhere else for her to go, so that's fine. But I managed to get around her. That third divide section is, as far as I could tell, like pretty much the end of the descending. I thought there was more, but after that it's like basically flat to uphill.
Yeah, it's basically
and I
flat.
got annihilated. I tried to go hard, but I had underestimated, I think, like how pedally and how flat it is. And like then there's a section that's like a long pedal, and I was like turning like 300 or 350 watts, like feel really good, and I was like thought I was going to come around this corner and that was going to be the end of the climb. And then I just realized it kept going. And I was one corner off and I just like slowed to like, like I was broken.
Yeah.
It broke me. So then I recovered a little bit because then you get to descend a little bit, which is fun.
Yeah.
Then you sprint in the road and that's the end.
So how did you end up?
So I ended up 6th.
Nice improvement over yesterday.
Yes, improvement. Yep. Yes. And I think that means I was probably 6th in the All Mountain as well. We haven't actually seen official results.
Yeah, for the All Mountain.
We'll throw a screenshot up.
Yeah, you get a certain number of points for the cross country, a certain number of points for the downhill, and they add the points together, and then whoever has the highest points wins.
Yeah.
So we're not sure what those are, but neither of us was going to be on the podium.
Yeah.
So for me, I started 2 hours before Sid, and the 2 guys ahead of me didn't show up. So I had 2 ghost riders, which was actually awesome because it means that I saw like no dust. I caught my 3-minute guy, sort of where the cross country and the downhill descent come back together, and then never saw my 4-minute guy. So basically I didn't have to deal with dust the entire time, which was really lucky. I had about as clean a downhill as I could have asked for. I think the descending parts, I went very fast. The climbing parts, I suffered. Going up Third Divide climb, which is the one we've mentioned multiple times, I was like, come on, go faster, go faster. And my legs were just like, no, we're not going to go any faster today. I did what I could, sprinted as hard as I could, and ended up 9th, which, you know.
It's a solid showing. They're fast dudes.
A lot of fast guys on a lot lighter and smaller bikes than mine, and who are training for pedaling more than I am. One of the cool parts about Downieville is that there's a really awesome river that's a really nice cold temperature. So we basically finished up the race and we're like, we're not going to be on the podium, chatted with people a little bit, and then headed back to our campsite here and jumped in the river and pretty much just spent the afternoon hanging out in the river.
It's an incredibly hard race, but like the vibe of the weekend is just really fun. Everyone's super encouraging. There's great like there's music at the aid stations. There was a guy out there with a drum set. Someone slapped my butt.
Turns out we know. But Sid didn't know it at the time. She's like,
wonder who
some
that
girl
was.
slapped my butt during the race. But yeah, it's a fun group of people.
Yeah.
And it's a slightly different group of people than we see at most races because it's not really the enduro crowd. It's more of a cross-country crowd. And we just don't get to see those people as much.
And I just felt like there was really good cheering. Like, I feel like a lot of times you're at enduro races and there aren't that many spectators. And the spectators that are there are maybe just like waiting for one person and they're kind of just like quiet. But there were like all the marshals on motos were out at different points and like they were just like cheering everybody on. I'm like, that's awesome.
Really cool.
Like,
it is really cool.
Yeah, so really cool event, really cool vibe, beautiful part of the world, wonderful river.
Yep.
River's
Unfortunately, there were
us.
fires this weekend, or like for the last week or something. The smoke was blowing into Downieville, so we had like a couple days were really nice, and then race day we actually like had ash falling out of the sky, which was kind of scary when you're like, I need to breathe hard and go up a hill fast, and there's ash falling out of the sky.
All right, thanks for watching, guys. As always, keep it awesome. Keep it more awesome.
Be more awesome. If you haven't subscribed, please do, and we will see you guys next time.
What you got there?
Pickles.
Mount Olive kosher baby dills.
I cramped for like the entire 3rd hour.
Are you gonna drink the pickle juice?
I don't know.
Drink it.
Water as well. Probably drink some, but
Drink it
I'm
all.
gonna go try an ice bath and pickles and some stretching, and hopefully I'll be able to walk tomorrow.
/ race really fast down the hill
And
tomorrow.
race really fast, which will probably be easier than the walking, to be honest.